Jayita. Welcome for the session. Yes,
Thank you.
you can just go ahead and introduce yourself for the audience, please.
Sure. So, hello everyone. I am Jayita Bhattacharya. I am a data scientist. I currently work at Deloitte, and I like to believe data scientist is a fancy word. Just I call myself a glorified if-else coder just inside Jupyter notebooks. And yeah, I've been juggling around all the AI hype that is going on with RAG, agents, and all of it. I just want my stakeholders to believe that hallucination is just a feature and not a bug.
That's a great introduction, though. So we are more interested in to know about your early days and
Mm-hmm.
how you
Mm-hmm.
got interested to know about this data science and AI, all this stuffs.
Sure. I think yeah, that's one question I always like going back to the days. So I think I graduated around 2020, the COVID batch that they call.
Okay.
So So when I graduated, although I got a full-time offer, it was delayed due to COVID and everything, and I had a couple of months, and I was doing my final year project also onto something that back then I did not know was machine learning. So I was doing a stupid project called traffic management through object detections and everything. I got introduced to the world of computer vision, and it really intrigued into me that the way I identify things, a human identifies it, a machine can also be taught to do the same. So that really intrigued into me, and I really got interested to the field of AI and I started exploring. And of course, I took those OG courses from Andrew Ng, and I got interested to the world of hackathons also that same moment, the time that I had between my joining, and I was just enjoying my time because I graduated, but I did not have a job then. So I was exploring machine learning, doing hackathons, used to maybe not even land onto top 100 maybe. But yeah, I used to enjoy doing those, get the data sets. And I still enjoy that era of traditional machine learning where I know what I feed into my model, how do I train a model and how the output comes out. So that was there. And, always I used to tweak some parameters and get the accuracy a bit higher, and it used to get me on the scoreboard back. So those things I really enjoyed, and that's how I got interested to the field of data science and machine learning.
Nice. Yeah, when you say well, you have started your journey by
Mm-hmm.
enrolling for some courses, etc., do you recommend any of them
Yeah.
who are starting out as of now?
Surely. I think the one best course that I did was from Andrew Ng, the machine learning course that is there on Coursera. I think it has a version in YouTube as well, so you can go for that as well. And I think deeplearning.ai, the company that Andrew Ng runs, they have a lot of good courses. Like I had taken that TensorFlow developer course, and I think the entire deep learning and NLP course. So great resources there. And I always believe like learning through working with things. So for me, I used to go to Kaggle as well, the place where competitions are there. You can see notebooks, how people approach a problem and how they go about it. So those are the resources that I always recommend.
Yeah, I think Kaggle is one of the good resources for data sets as well. I
Yeah,
just use them most
right.
of the time.
It's more than datasets now. You go to notebooks, you go to models. They also have that new section where you can, these open source models, you can just plug and play with them. Just some caveat onto memory comes as a drawback now because running these big models becomes a challenge at times.
Yeah, true. So, was there anything unique about your college days when it comes to projects or any mentors that you got inspired from or some experiences that you want to share about, like that shaped your career today? Is there anything so?
I think I was under pretty good teachers. Some of the teachers who really intrigued me onto. So there was a course in our computer science as automata theory, how the actually computers work. So I used to not get my head around with it. And there was one great teacher of ours into this thing, computer architecture, and he explained me so well that I still have those lessons in my mind. So those are the takeaways that I have. And now that I see newer streams coming out, that AI and data science, I always tell people that these are fine, right? You can learn AI and data science, but the basics of computer science, the basics of software engineering, those won't go away. Those will still remain.
And they are like very much important, even though
Yeah,
or wherever I go, if I get a chance, I keep saying like basics are important, because
correct, correct.
without knowing how computer works, without knowing how exactly a program works, we can't build anything.
Exactly. Yeah.
Nice. So, like, how did you land your first job, by the way, as a data analyst, right? So, any challenges that you
So
big?
yeah. That's an interesting thing that happened. So although at the time that I was mentioning that I was waiting for my full-time offer that I got through, I was a campus hire onto IBM that I got an offer from.
Mhm.
But within that months that I was waiting for my joining, I was involved into totally machine learning and things. And randomly applied on LinkedIn to an internship that there's a tech journalism company you might be knowing, Analytics India magazine. So I started my journey there. I used to write blogs, and for about 6 months, I did that onto machine learning. Every day, my task was to write one blog about some machine learning concept that I came across. It could be a paper walkthrough, or it could be some concept, say XGBoost, how does XGBoost work, and through code explanations and everything, I used to write those blogs, and that really helped me a lot onto understanding concepts. Because when I have to write, or I always use a plain English that anybody coming up to read this should understand, like the way I also would go forward to read a blog. So to explain those things, I had to do a lot of background work, and that really helped me learn things.
Yeah, I think that's a good initiation and a good thought at first when you have started it. That
Yeah, yeah.
helps a lot, like because even if we go for a chat GPT, etc., like, or even if you ask someone, it's like it's easy to say good jargons in the technical terms.
Uh-huh.
They might explain, but we need someone who can explain in a simple terms so that it does
Correct, correct.
uh, elephant, even though the subjects or a topic is a tiny. If you go on with the technical jargon, it looks like a big elephant.
Correct, correct. And it was really rewarding for me. Some folks came over to LinkedIn and told me that this is the blog that I read of yours, and this is how this concept got clear to me, and that is the biggest reward. What more can I ask for?
Yes, yes. And yeah, that feels like a more satisfied, that gives a feeling of more satisfaction.
Correct.
And like even what the hack is like, whatever we write in that manner, if you want to go and revisit it, it will be kind of a book for us where we can go and
Exactly.
learn.
Exactly.
Want to learn it again, it will be kind of a book. Usually in school days and all, we used to write in some notes for us, and now we have beautiful platforms so that we can just like.
I still believe in those handwritten notes. If I so there was a teacher in my school days who used to say about read and write and learn. So if I write it out, I'll recall that. Will recall, and after months also, if I go back, I don't. If I have forgotten things, obviously I would forget. So I just glance over my notes, and it instantly brings in things.
Yeah, I think that's a good suggestion most of the teachers would give, and
Yeah,
and that helped. Really, it helped. Even
correct.
for me as well. I do it even now. I just take a blank sheet, maybe a kind of
Yeah.
three sheets. I'll just start scribbling out whatever there in my mind. And yeah, like even sometimes what I did, like if I forget something, if I want to
Mm-hmm.
remember something often, so I
Mm-hmm.
just
Mm-hmm.
used to write it and paste it on the wall. I used to do it in my like especially on the exam.
Right, right,
My
right.
teachers used to suggest if you forget those something formulas, or if you want to remember
Mm-hmm.
something,
Mm-hmm.
just do that so that if you see it by walking around, etc., you will remember thing instead of memorizing it. If you keep seeing that, you'll be remembering what it is.
That reminds me, since I'm from a convent school, so it was very, very strict. Like everything was very strict here. And the teacher, there was one teacher. She's a lovely, lovely human being who I believe has transformed me a lot. So she used to
Mhm.
say, if you forget anything, write it on your forehead. You'll see the mirror. You'll remember it.
Yeah. We can correlate. We are from convent school, right? We can correlate actually like this. Yeah. So, can you just share me something about your
Mm-hmm.
writing journey so that it will be helpful
Mm-hmm.
for others also who are starting out? Like, how did you got that
Okay.
first start writing?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So I think I used to scroll a lot of LinkedIn back in, I think that was 2020 for me. Yeah. So it's to just randomly scroll LinkedIn, keep applying for internships. I didn't expect them to get them, just randomly wanted to apply and see how it goes.
Mhm.
And so I got a call back from this Analytics India magazine. They were so they still have that. So they'll hire interns for I think 3 months to write blogs, and if you're okay with it, you can also they convert them to full time as well. They're a big company now. Back then it was just a bunch of us working around. So the thing was they gave me an assignment first that I think it was something on classification. They gave me a data set and they wanted me to just write down from exactly how I approach the problem and how I put in my algorithms, as long as also with some. So I prepared a very beautiful notebook out of it. I had uploaded it onto my LinkedIn and GitHub as well, where I do the explanation through some images and some visuals as well, explain the concepts and explain it through code as well. And I had actually done some background work also. So I went through Analytics India magazines. I used to read their blogs also, so I knew the kind of writing they are expecting. So that's a good research work that you can do in the background. And then after that notebook, they were really impressed with the way I wrote. And then there was a interview round also. They were asking basic machine learning questions, that what are the EDA steps that you take? Why did you choose this particular algorithm? How do you tune the hyperparameters? On all sorts of those things they were questioning. Of course, I wasn't able to answer all of them because I was also a beginner to that field where then. But yeah, I think the thing was the approach of learning the thing that was in me, that I want to learn. Just to get me this, and I can give you good quality articles. I can learn up and I can write it. So that was the thing, and I think it worked. And yeah, that was my first job, so I was very excited. Okay, even if it is, it's just pocket money for me, then also I was very, very happy that first job.
No, that's a good start actually. That's a good
Yeah, yeah.
because like every first job need not to be a fancy fun companies because most of the people do believe that. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
but even I, as a developer, so far, I don't believe that. It's like basic, it's an effort that you put in,
Yeah, yeah,
and
correct.
yeah, later you can just go into any of the companies. It's all based on
Exactly.
it's the first job that really brings out the kind of satisfaction. Yes, we did something
Yeah, yeah.
that cannot be replaced even if we are in a good company or
True, true, very true.
small
Very
company. It
true.
doesn't matter.
Yeah, because when you are in a small company or you're an intern, you're creating some impact. It feels bigger than, in a bigger companies, your efforts might not be recognized at the whole org level or something. Only your project folks know you and they do it. So that's also there.
Yes. Yeah, nice. Good to know that. Okay, so you have started on writing, etc. So how about the public
Yeah.
speaking? How did you get interested to speak about? Because I feel like most of them don't
Mm-hmm.
have courage to come up on the stage, even though they know a lot of things. Because
Right, right.
will be knowing a lot of technical things, very good technical things.
Mm-hmm.
Indeed, they can explain it very well off the stage. But when it comes to
Right.
on stage, that kind of fear will be there, and most of them we don't.
Mm-hmm.
The sad part, like we get to see ladies or a women's or a girls on the stage are very less. So how
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
on public speaking?
I was also the same category. I don't think I recall that anytime in school I did that or anytime in college I did that. I was really shy too, and I had a big time stage fear and all. But thanks to the remote worker opportunity, where so for me, public speaking started by accident, I would say, somewhere last year. Again, Analytics Vidya, they are also a technology journalism company. So they approached me onto first it was a virtual session that I gave, and I since I was working on two rags and they were also looking onto some similar topics, I was kind of and my focus always is that more than PPT and bhashan, I go to demo. I show people what I build, and
Mhm.
you can also get started kind of approach I have. So that was my first one that I got in, and first time on stage again, Analytics India Vidya invited me for, I think they have Data Hack Summit. So that's an annual conference that they have, and that was my first time going onto stage. I was really nervous, and I had come down to Bangalore. I was back then staying at my home. I came down to Bangalore for this event, and all the way it was all jitters and me. Somewhere I was feeling I was prepared, but then again, if I go to stage, I might lose it and all. Somehow, when I just started speaking, I went on the stage. That fear had gone away. Like I knew what I was talking about, and I felt that people wanted to know. It's always a two-way thing that I look for. It's not just me going onto the stage and speaking out things. It's also how people receive it, and also how people want to share their things, what they learned, and it's a learning for me as well. It's not always possible that I'll know things that I go up and say. I also look forward to learn from the interactions that the audience does, and it really went well, and that's how I got started. And now I do not enjoy virtual ones. I only want to go for the in-person ones where I can directly interact with people, and that's how it continued. That same week, Cloud Community Day, GDG Kolkata was organizing Cloud Community Day. I spoke there as well, and it continued after that. I think, yeah, bunch of things happened. Now I'm pretty active to community, and earlier it was like, okay, I'm getting some limelight and fame, but now my mission is bit of change. Like I believe into contribution, I believe into creating impact, and the fact that you said that there is less of women representation onto the stage, so that's one of my mission now. And I keep approaching to people that there are smaller community groups where you can come in, where there is 20 30 people. You don't need to directly go on to a conference kind of level where you're fearing that. So just come up onto this community space, speak to people. People don't judge you on that space. People are just interested to learn things that you build, and they want to share their experiences as well. You can network well, and then yeah, gradually you can go on to conferences and all.
Yeah, and like as you mentioned, like the you knew the topic, that's why you got that courage to speak, and that
Right.
talk was very easy for you to deliver. I think that's where
Right.
the exact, or what I can say, like that's where the magic happens basically.
True,
If
true,
if
maybe.
you know the things, you can speak well with any,
Yeah, yeah.
or else like if it is something which is prepared, that will be a disaster. Yeah, Jaita, you were mentioning this networking kind of thing. You love
Mm-hmm.
interacting with the people. Um,
Right.
like, what kind of role this networking had played in your journey so far, and any memorable
Mm-hmm.
moments where the connections helped you
Mm-hmm.
about the other way?
Mm-hmm. Sure, I think the networking plays a big role. And for me, I love, like we are sitting on a Sunday talking about technology. This thing I really love, to people I can network with, and I get to learn a lot. I get to share as well. I get to learn as well. So that's how it works for me. And I think LinkedIn has been the biggest thing. So we also came across in LinkedIn itself. So that's a big thing for me. People do reach out, and I also reach out to people that, hey, you're working on this. I'm interested to know how did you build this up, or can we just so I think I was talking to someone, I think Ravi, yeah, Ravi Shankar. He's also a big good person, he randomly approached me and then said that, Joyita, you're doing really great. You're contributing so much. I wish to talk to you. And we casually had a half an hour chat that this is all going on. And he's in US, I'm in India. We were talking about how are things in India going on, how are things in US going on onto the tech space. So these kind of conversation I really love. Somebody who's remained, I don't know. There are plenty of people by now. I think I cannot name one person now. So yeah, and now that I'm in Bangalore and I keep going to these meetups, it's become really good that onto recurring meetups meet people, and yeah, that's really great.
Yeah, and indeed, like I could remember, like this month we had one meetup on 5th, I guess. Like morning, in
Yeah,
morning
geeky
session, you were
ants.
there, and
Yeah.
in afternoon session, I was there, and we couldn't meet, unfortunately, due to some other commitments. And
Yeah,
things.
this happens with me. Like conflicts keep happening. Yesterday I had bank pipers and there was Google Gen AI boot camp also. I was supposed to go there, but you cannot make it. You have to. So I think that day that Geeky Ants meetup was happening, and I had to go to NVIDIA AI Inference Day also, and it was really hectic. Like that's the one thing that I learned, that in a day keep one. It should be productive. That one thing should be productive. Don't go around 10 things to do. I know Bangalore is a crazy space. Yeah, one Saturday you'll have 5 meetups happening, but focus on one. That's one learning I had now.
That's true. And also, audience will be eager to discuss some things
Right, right,
with us
right.
as well. How do you manage those?
Mm-hmm.
How do you manage those questions?
Uh-huh. So I think when I'm on stage, people do questions, and I love that. That I love Bangalore crowd because of that one reason, that they will question, and I want that. If even if I'm not if I'm able to answer, well and good. If I'm not able to answer, I'll just straight away say that, I am not aware. I did not have to explore this. If you know anything, please educate me. So that's that two-way learning I look forward to. And there are many people that I see that they do not want to ask questions on the open forum, but after I'm done with my talk or in the end of the meetup, they'll come up and they'll ask, and they mostly freshers or early professionals who want to come to data science, they look for a guidance there. And there are professionals also, they will say that, this thing works. So I think now a lot of buzz happens around agents, and people will come up and ask me that, did you try this MCP thing, and how are you doing it, how, and all. So the both kinds of conversations are lovely to have.
Yeah.
Since, I so yesterday I was more into organizing. I was not speaking, so I was into organizing, and we had selected pretty good talks, and I was really looking forward to them. And I got to learn that, if you can how you are executing JavaScript program within Python and Python program within JavaScript. And the way that speaker presented only demos, he did not have any slides or anything, and he just had demos that you can do it. And he was more talking about polyglot programming, so you can run Java code inside Python. And it was really interesting to learn these stuffs.
Yes. And like the beauty of attending these meetups and all is like we get to learn a lot of things, even
Yeah.
what we are working. Like if we are not aware of those, we'll get to learn.
Mm-hmm.
And
Correct, correct.
we'll move into some technical stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Not too technical, but yeah. Okay. So fine, Jayita. So let's discuss something about AI and data science trends that are
Mm-hmm.
happening. So what do you think about how, like right now, AI is evolving rapidly? So from your
Yeah.
perspective, how is AI transforming
Mm-hmm.
the data science?
So for me, the one good thing about developers is that productivity has greatly increased. I would say I do not write mundane code, even if I know that I need to import this data set and this is how I explore it. I know the code. I wouldn't write it down.
Mhm.
I would simply let AI give me the code out to me. So that's one thing that I've seen to be good as productivity, in sense of productivity to be there. Also, like the one thing that I have to keep doing to keep myself updated is read through research papers, read through blogs and everything. And it's not always, although I like to read in the original format start to end, it's not always possible to do that for me because of say time constraints and anything that I have in my way. So for that, these summarizations and these co-pilots that we have, so these are also really great that I see. And on terms of, let's say, going forward, how this field is going to transition is, although so one thing that I always suggest to people is that you do not need Gen AI for everything. Even if it's capable of doing that, think about it. There's a cost involved. There are many things under the hood that is going on. So think about it. Many things in machine learning still can be solved through traditional machine learning problems. Existing solutions are there. Only if you see there are tasks, identify the tasks that really need Gen AI to do that, and only go forward with that, so that there's a in between. I was also feeling that there's too much AI reliability, and I was not doing things on my own. Even though I had the curiosity to learn, I was not implementing on my own. So that's one caveat that I see. So that's a differentiation that people should make. And going forward, I think reinforcement learning is picking up a lot. I think robotics is going picking up, and yeah, I don't know what is the next big thing awaiting there. So small language models are also picking up. So I think I was exploring this idea that if I have a, say, 700 800 MB model, can I deploy it onto my any edge device? For me, it's my mobile phone maybe. And can it be at par at performance by via the large language models? So those are some of the things I was trying to explore.
Nice. So you want to put some light on those, if any, that you have tried any specific tools or something, if some, if
Mm-hmm. So I think I was exploring Gemma 3, which is the one of the greatest small language models, and it has multilinguality. It has long context of 128K context window, and that's a big deal for a small language model. And they have different parameter models. They have 4B and 12B are the good ones. And I was thinking, like, let us explore. Like, I still haven't implemented it, but it's on my mind that I need to do this. Can I deploy it onto my mobile phone and check that how much of a performance, how much of a latency, how much is it causing? Because it's a big deal for a small language model to be at par with large language models. It is able to do some of the tasks. It's like pretty common tasks. If you say that give me a poem, or uh, just fill in the blank, or just review this out, give me a summary of it. So those basic tasks is it's really good at, and it's par with a big model as well. So just exploring those capabilities, that if I also want to plug it up with RAG, that I have these bunch of documents, then can you answer from there? Can you work as a chatbot with giving me equivalent performance? So those are the things that are going on in my head to explore. And yeah, I think there's a lot happening onto MCPs. I'm still a beginner onto that one, I would say. Because yeah, I did not have time much to explore onto those things. I think where you do not need to write code at all, and everything will be taken care. You just give it out a prompt and entire application is built. So I somewhere restrict myself to doing those also, because I love writing code on my own, and I don't somewhere I don't want, although it's okay that AI helps me with the next line of code that is coming, but entire application that comes into picture, I'm like, what do I do then? I sit down and debug things. What do I do?
even debugging will be hard if we try to do that, because that's a kind of
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
bad thing that we see nowadays, especially with the vibe coding.
Correct, correct. Correct. That's really a tough spot, and that is the reason I tell people that if you know how this thing works. So I think I was there in a hackathon going on in Deloitte itself. So uh, it was a AWS hackathon. So although we knew the problem statement, we knew how to do it. We didn't know about much of the AWS services that we had to use and make this solution. So we were relying so much on AWS. Like there's this with VS Code, there comes Amazon Q, which gives you how to write code and which are the services that you can use, and etc. And every little thing that we are doing, that what, how do I do this thing, get me this thing. So every little thing we were asking Amazon Q to generate it, and later on we wasted like 2 3 hours on it, and we did not get an answer. And suddenly we went through some documentation, we explored out the options ourselves, and it had happened. I'm like, too much reliability. Shouldn't do like this.
Yeah, that's a kind of a big problem that developers might face in coming future. Too much of
Right, right.
reliability on AI, and like what I feel is, I being a senior in developing all these things,
Mm-hmm.
I see
Mm-hmm.
solutions are not optimal most of the time. It's like
Right, right. Hmm.
a lot of buggy code resting. Yes, some might work like a magic, and the other way around is like a lot of topics are not covered yet in the Gen AI. That's another point of issue that I came across recently. It's
Mm-hmm.
topics in the former method and all, like what we used to do, we used to
Mm-hmm.
do the documentation, we used to read like how it
Right, right.
did. And the other thing is like I used to go into the open source project
Mm-hmm.
framework,
Yeah, yeah.
and I used to debug how this kind of feature has been implemented, so that it was kind of
Mm-hmm.
to tweak it if something is not
Right.
available directly for us to implement.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but like
Exactly. I miss Stack Overflow.
yeah, but like recently, whatever the issue that I was mentioning, fortunately, I was able to tackle it by my own,
Mm-hmm.
my what knowledge
Mm-hmm.
that I had worked before. And of course, like some of them,
Right.
I searched through Stack Overflow as well, because this, whatever it was saying, Gen AI, it was like, okay, step one, step two, step three. Yeah, this is the thing.
Right,
This
right.
will work. That's how it, gives back the information, right? Yeah, this will work. I said, no, it is not working. It is not. And finally, okay, what's happening? I sat like I just threw away everything. Okay, I sat. Okay, what's the issue exactly? And finally, I got the solution. It's working, and the stakeholders are happy. Oh, finally.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah, I know that, and you might be surprised, like when, so of course you these models are trained up to a certain date, and now although real-time search capability has happened, so people in GitHub, so mostly these code generation models would be trained around GitHub, entire code that is available in it, and there's a lot of buggy code available. And when this thing came out that it is trained on GitHub, people started pushing more and more buggy code there, and a hell lot of things happen. And I go through these Reddit posts, and it's interesting to sometimes read those comments. It's kind of entertainment for me.
Yes. And one more thing is like we don't have proper like let's say all these data sets, whatever they have been
Hmm.
using for training the models, etc.
Right,
Them
right.
like few people will be there to train it most,
Hmm.
and the
Hmm.
basic model, whatever it is from the whatever available on the internet already.
Right, right, right.
Where the gap I see is most of the topics are not addressed in on the internet firstly. So
Correct, correct.
talking about some trending topics, even the
Hmm.
creators will be more interested in creating the topic only regarding that, rather than what the real problem is. I know this is what I observed.
Correct, correct. That's absolutely true. You cannot expect these models to, like, if you're so I there was one thing that I was reading, that there's one model, I forgot the name of that. I think Google came out with it, or some research company came out with it, that they can write research papers. And I'm like, if certain thing is not it's not available in the out there, how can a model generate it? Like, how it is obviously telling from its own knowledge. And I believe that, okay, fine, you can bring up new things, but it would still have some lack in it, like that gene transformation and all those things that DeepMind came out with, that they are able to do with AlphaFold and all. But still somewhere, all of this model is telling me it is out of its knowledge box only, and something that hasn't yet been created, how it is doing it, it's still somewhere something is lacking. I don't know if I don't understand these models well, or how is it happening, I don't know. And often at times, by open source that we say, it's actually open weights models, it's not open source. Like, if you see DeepSeek also, they did not release their later on gave the five repository they used to do the enhanced inferencing speed that they have, that they release, but entire code that they're using, or entire data set that they use to train, those are not open yet. Like, they would say that we are using whole of internet. Like, what do you mean by whole of internet? It could be anything, like you're from coming it from common crawl or anywhere else, that web crawlers that you have. So certain gaps, I agree to you that there are still certain gaps.
Yeah. So, what do you think? Like, what are the biggest
Mm-hmm.
misconceptions about AI that you wish more people,
Mm-hmm.
if there is anything specific?
Mm-hmm. I think very common is that one, that AI will take away your job. I strictly do not believe that the AI cannot take your job, and it is to, so anything that new comes up, right? It is supposed to create newer jobs as well. And we are in a field of computer science and software engineering where change is the only constant, I believe.
Yes.
So we have to keep updating ourselves. So 10 years back, whatever worked would not work today, so that evolution will happen. So now if there is AI, the next thing people suspect that there will be quantum and everything else. So newer things will be coming and there will be newer jobs. It's just your capability to keep adapting to them. And I'm not saying that traditional things will be gone. There are still places where very much I see traditional machine learning also working, or I'm not aware of other technologies much, but yeah, for machine learning I can surely speak of that there are still places where traditional things will keep on working. But yeah, with newer changes, newer jobs will be created.
True. Let's say if someone wants to start learning about AI or ML today, so
Mm-hmm.
where they have to start?
Mm-hmm.
What's your suggestion for them?
Mm-hmm. So earlier I used to say learn from basics, but now I would like to tweak it to how and where your use case is, or like which role you're applying for. Look at that. Like if you are going for research or say एकदम मतलब data scientist specific roles, then you would be expected to know statistics, machine learning, algorithms, and everything, the math and everything you would be expected to know. But if you're more onto the application side of things, say you're an AI engineer, you just know the models are there and you want to just use those models to build use cases. So then it's more of the applications that you have to see how do you like for example the RAG based use cases. So you just have to know if anybody knowing Python can build these things up, but again you have to know how embeddings work, you have to know how these things can be customized, and how re-ranking works and stuff like that you would have to still know. But yeah, I would say it totally depends on the role that you're applying and you're expected to know. It's not always that you're applying through say, so nowadays these terms have come up, that Gen AI engineer and all. These things won't expect you to know much of say ekdam matlab basic ekdam math and everything that we did. It would be more that can you quickly build up apps on using AI? Can you build quickly? You can build apps and keep them running. So though that's one aspect. And other that machine learning, if you're a machine learning engineer, if you're a data scientist, and all of those technical roles, those would still expect you to know statistics, mathematics, machine learning algorithms, deep learning algorithms, and of course you're going on to computer vision or you're going on to NLP. All of these things would be expected to know.
True. You had the subject of AI ML in your college? You do?
No, no, no. Back then it did not exist. So back then, like we also had like in our projects we had it. Like AI was still onto traditional things that we used to do. Gen AI didn't come then, so we didn't have it. And I think I did not know this term existed. Like it was not until fourth year that when I started doing project, I learned about okay, this is a term that exists and this is how it works. Yeah, for us back then, AI was like detecting cats and dogs.
True, because the students nowadays, like, they're having this subject called as AI ML separately, and
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
doing called as cybersecurity, all those things. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
the real gap exists is like they don't know how whatever the study in the college, how it has been implemented in the real world. That's
Right, right,
kind
right.
of a big problem. And what they think is what professionals work is something kind different than what they are studying.
Uh-huh.
Because
Yeah, 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 yeah.
our syllabus is not updated yet, all those things. That's fine.
I think that gap still existed, like in hard times also, that gap was still there. Like we would, and or if you're going into some service-based company, they are like they would hire you, they would train you, and they will want you to work on the things that they have work on. So that gap is still there. But I think yeah, it's I don't know. I cannot speak for changing the education system, but I can definitely say that people who are really interested. Knowledge is everywhere now in the internet. What do you not find out? So if you're really interested, start building, just start it.
Yeah. Okay. So if you could go back and give your younger self career advice, what would it be?
I don't know if I would give any advice. I'm a person who has learned through mistakes, and that has helped me. So I feel if I would be doing things always correct, there would be a stagnant at a point. And the learnings and the experiences I have up until now have been helpful. Every day I feel I'm a better person because I'm learning from yesterday. So this is what happened yesterday. So I can learn out of it, and I can be a better person every next day. Is what I say to myself.
Yeah, learn from your mistakes. True.
Yeah, yeah.
Cool. So, what is the one myth about working in AI and data science that you would like to debunk?
Now I think people think that we do not write code and everything is like there itself. We just do an API call and things happen, magic happens.
Mhm.
But that's not always true. I know there are like things happening this way, but yeah, under the hood, as you said, that more vibe coding, we need to have more debugging as well. So
Yes.
even if I do an API call, I have to know what is happening under the hood. So that's one myth happening. And yeah, I think customization is what if you're working in any use cases, they would have a lot of customizations. It's not those like just plug and play things are not happening. So when you're dealing with big enterprise level projects, it's important. Customization is important, and how you write your logic and where you need the gen ai, where you need to do an llm call and where not, identifying those things are really important.
I think this is a very good point that you made. Usually, what the juniors think is, okay, like
Mm-hmm.
we learn so and so things. This is what we're gonna do it.
Right.
Let's say, for example, one or two projects.
Right.
So they'll just
Mm-hmm.
think, okay, this is what we have to do. But in
Mm-hmm.
practical, like customization would be required, and all those headaches will be there.
Right, right, right. Yeah, you need to think about scalability, latency, and all those things you have to think. Like you're making one API call now. Within that, if there are multiple things internally, more APIs are being called. You think about the latency that happens. Now, how do you optimize those? So a lot of my time goes on to optimization also.
Yeah. Yes, my next question would be, like, let's say for newbies who are stepping into the tech,
Mm-hmm.
what's your message to?
Mm-hmm. So I think a lot of people want to come onto this field of AI and data science or any other field. If they want to come out, it's more
Mhm.
of happens with the hype that goes on. I tell people do not do that. If at all, like for my case, I was really interested the way human brain thinks and machine can be also be taught like that. So for my case, that was my interest area that grew me, drive me to take this path. If this is not what your mindset is, then don't come to this. There are multiple things going on in the world. AI is not the only thing that you need to do. So anything in technology that interests you, was if it is android development, web development, it could be cybersecurity, it could be anything in tech. There are like 10, 15, more than that, I guess 50,
More than.
hundreds of things that you can explore. So yeah, and people come up to me that I learned python, I can do AI and all. I'm like, that can't be an answer. If you like Java, you like JavaScript, go for it, do that.
Yeah.
There'll be work to do that, and you can use AI in your work. So there's one friend of mine who had come up to me. He's a data analyst, and he was asking me how do I transition to data science. So at first I told him that if your work is not onto code and your work is onto more of frameworks and stuff, think of using AI onto that. Why do you want to transition to something because it sounds fancy or you just want to come up there? If it really interests you, then surely go ahead, do that. But if not, then it doesn't make sense.
No, usually people do that nowadays. That kind of fancy statement is going on. AI will take up the jobs from the engineers, like that. That's why
Right, right.
one wants to know about it, and
Mm-hmm.
the use cases they just want to learn what's happening, etc., etc. Like more than that, that
Right, right.
being like implanted
Mm-hmm.
everyone right now. It's like it's going on.
Correct, correct, correct.
Unless
Correct.
someone who is working really on that, what is happening, we know that really what is happening in that landscape and how this can.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So yeah, we will say confidently, yeah, just be calm, chalo aapka.
Yeah.
That's all. Yep. So my last question would be for you, like any
Mm-hmm.
book or a podcast or any kind of resource
Mm-hmm.
recommendation that helped you shape your thinking or your work.
Okay, okay, yeah, yeah. I keep discussing about this thing nowadays. Have become more of going on to hearing podcasts than taking up courses or reading books. But obviously, those two things are also still remains relevant. But some of the podcasts really I love watching is Lex Friedman's podcast, and he talks about bunch of things. But I become more interested when he's bringing up some technology person, and if it is on AI and data science, I'll surely not mind hearing that for 5 6 hours even. I did that, so I really like that. So I think that's one thing, one podcast that I really like. And I think there's some underrated channels that I keep discovering these days. Is I think one is machine learning street talk is there.
Mhm.
So for okay, so that is one there, and I think Dwarkesh Patel is there. He does a lot of podcasts with machine learning folks, and many of these underrated channels are there. AI Engineer is one channel which I follow. Like they cover some conferences and they'll put those particular topics and speakers out there. So I get to learn a lot from these things, and yeah, for me it's always been. So if you see my GitHub, not GitHub, I'm sorry, my LinkedIn, there's a background that if you didn't code, you didn't learn. So
Yes.
I believe in that unless until I go on to my hands-on and tried those things out, I don't feel I have learned it out. So that's one thing that even if I'm reading some Medium blogs, I'll make sure to go through that GitHub page where the code is there and try to somehow analyze it. I'm not saying that everything and anything will get into the head right then and there, but yeah, gradually it will. The more you explore, the more you get to know it. And books, so now I think I got a book from Pact where on RL, and I'm trying to learn a bit about RL as well. So Nathan Lambert is a great research research scientist who is more active onto this field, and I'm trying to go through these RL things there. And YouTube has a lot of things, like if you go through Stanford, they upload their courses there. And it's really great, those professors, the way they teach you, and it's on that blackboard with now they have started writing with I think pens and all. Earlier they used to write it with chalk and all, and those lectures are really gem. And it's a privilege that sitting here I can hear those things out. So yeah, even I think in our if you know of these IIT folks, they have this NPTEL. They have
Yes, yes.
there also they release good courses. I was listening to one of those intro to large language models.
Mhm.
There's one professor. I'm sorry, I'm forgetting his name, but those lecture are really gold quality. Like he talks about how linguistics came into picture and the history and evolution of language, and then actually comes how were done. The Turing machine. He talks about the Turing machine and everything. And I'm like, the more I learn, I every day I feel like so less I know.
That's true. That's true. I think like if if person have that kind of thirst of learning more, then only he'll be kind of successful, especially in this domain. That is kind of very much needed.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that's a great input, Jaita. Thank you so much. And yeah, would you like to add more? Something you need.
Yeah, one thing that even people in AI, they keep asking me that how do you keep your focus onto, there's so many things coming out. How do you keep your focus onto one thing? Because yeah, today I am working in NLP. Although computer vision interests me, there are 10 different things happening in vision. There are 10 different things happening in language. Then supervised learning is one thing, unsupervised is one thing, RL is one thing. So many tracks are there. People are being in this field also get confused which one to focus. So my suggestion to them is also that the thing that I do is suppose one concept that lately I am interested onto is knowledge graphs. So I
Mhm.
make sure I go deep onto understanding knowledge graphs. Maybe so something new comes up, reasoning models and agents that newly came up with. I may not be knowing end to end about it, but I will make sure that I have an overview or an idea about it. If that thing interests me, I'll dig deeper onto it. So that level of focus is also needed. That what is that concept that interests you, make sure to deep dive onto it. Other things you may or may not know fully, just have an overview of it. And I think content is everywhere. If
Yeah.
even on Instagram I see things, or I see good reels onto AI itself. So yeah, content is everywhere.
Yeah, that's true. And like you have given one of the best advice, you don't need to know about everything. Uh,
Yeah,
because people fear that. Like when
yeah,
they
yeah, yeah.
hear something which is unknown from others, they think like, oh, I don't know this. Oh, I don't know this. Like it
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
like you can just learn the things as and when it is needed, and yeah, like based on our curiosity, whatever it is there, if you just go behind it, like we learn a lot. True.
Exactly, exactly. I've been in that place. Imposter syndrome is real killer. So I always suggest that know one thing, but know that so deep that anything comes up, you're able to answer on it and you're able to tell people. Other things, there are people who know it. Learn from them.
Yes.